So it's one thing for me to just say that the loan calculations and the payout annuity calculations are exactly the same. We're just reversing who is actually making the payments each month, right? Whether it's the bank paying us or us paying the bank, it ends up working out exactly the same. It's another for you to actually see it. So this is going to be walking through an example of how we might approach one of these loan problems. Okay, so we've got this guy, Michael, who has very bad taste in cars and wants to buy a 2004 Chrysler Sebring convertible, but he only has $150 a month that he can spare for the car loan. So if you get an auto loan at 8% interest for 60 months, can he afford a $5,000 Sebring? And I want to just say right now, we've got a number for the payments, and we've got a number for what the total loan would be. And I can't just stick both of those in the formula. I need to treat one of those as an unknown quantity, and it doesn't matter which one. So here's the two approaches we could take to this. We could say, okay, well, 150 is the maximum he could afford. Let's treat that as the payments and put that into this payout annuity or loan formula. It's the same thing. And then see, well, okay, if he can afford $150 a month payments, how much can the total loan be? And as long as it's $5,000 or above, he can afford it. Or I could approach it as $5,000 is the hard limit, put that into the formula and figure out what the payment would be. And as long as the payment is $150 or less, then he can afford it. Okay, but I need to treat one of those things as an unknown to actually make sure we're within the right range. Now, most of the time when you walk onto a car lot, the question isn't what dollar value of car can you afford, it's how much can you afford in payments per month. So I'm going to approach it from that perspective just so we can actually look at how those calculations work out in real life. Okay, so I'm going to treat this as payments of $150 and see if we make those $150 a month payments, can that afford a $5,000 vehicle? Okay, so the payment is $150. So remember, for a loan, this actually maybe makes more sense why we're calling it literally a payment. That's literally what we call, the payments to the bank or whatever. But this does work just the same as those payout annuities where we were getting those withdrawals as payments. Okay. So anyway, we can afford $150 a month for this. We've got an 8% interest rate, so I'll write that as 0.08. My N is the number of years here. Right? So always be mindful of that. It's the number of years. Well, 60 months is 5 years. So be sure that you're not using, just whatever number it gives you. Be mindful of what the units are here. Our T here is going to be 5 years, and our N is how many payments we're going to be making per year. Okay, and that's clearly at monthly payments, right? This is how much you can pay per month, and we're doing it for 60 months. Okay, so it's clearly monthly payments. So we've got $150 for the payments, interest rate of 8%, or 0.08 is a decimal, 12 payments per year, and T is 5 years. And again, please be mindful of that as you're going through these to make sure we've got the right number in there. So as I've done before, I don't want to make you watch me write this whole thing out on the board and struggle with my calculator to get it all entered in quickly. So here's our payout annuity formula, which we're also going to use for loans. It's the same thing, right? And we're going to put in $150 for the payment. We're going to put in 0.08 for that R, our APR, 12 for our N. And please, please, please don't forget that minus sign up in the exponent here. We've already talked about that with those payout annuities, but just be mindful of that here too. And our T is going to be 5 years. So as we go through, plugging this in and then actually getting it into our calculator, as usual, I made sure to keep every single decimal place that my calculator gave me. And I got a total of $7,397.77. So that's not the question, okay? That answers our question, and I need to do that to answer the question, but that's not what the question is, right? So I think you've already figured that out from especially the projects that I give out for this course, that we need to be very mindful of actually answering the question, not just doing the calculation. The question was, can Michael afford a $5,000 2004 Chrysler Sebring? And yes, right, according to our calculations, that $150 a month payment gets you a $7,000 car. So you can definitely afford a $5,000 car at this interest rate and, payment schedule. So that's how you do something like that. In the next video, I'll walk through the same thing, but with house payments.